This is garbage. Garbage movie. Yeah, what the hell was this film? And after what, like 30 years of finally giving this franchise a comeback, they gave us this? And the fact that they titled this movie Answer the Call is very inaccurate, because this movie is clearly the wrong call. So this movie is basically just a copy of the first movie, except the original characters are basically gender swapped. Yeah, except those original characters in this movie were nothing but a bunch of obnoxious, annoying, and unfunny characters. Look, I understand that they created new characters, since this is supposed to be a reboot, but they never had to make the characters so pathetic and stupid. And the worst part is, this movie also has great actors wasting their time on this abomination. Like Melissa McCarthy, Kristen Wiig, Chris Hemsworth, Charles Dance, even Kate McKinnon and Leslie Jones. I feel bad for the cast wasting their times on this film. I like them better in other films. Well, unfortunately, I have not seen any other movies with Leslie Jones. If you guys know any movies featuring Leslie Jones that are 10 times better than this movie, comment them down below, and perhaps I'll check them out. I mostly feel bad for Chris Hemsworth for being in this movie, because his character was so stupid, childish, and just annoys me in almost every single scene that he's in.
Yeah, this character just annoys the hell out of me. And he also stupidly gets possessed by the main villain.
I think it would have been much more accurate if Seth Rogen plays the character because of his unfunny humor. I mean, because Chris Hemsworth did not deserve to be in this movie. I get your point. I mean, I like Chris Hemsworth as an actor, but this has to be his worst role. So far, at least. And speaking of the main villain, I think he has to be one of the worst villains in cinematic history. Like, he was so lame, and he was not intimidating. Heck, even in ghost form, he was not intimidating. At all. Yeah, and even in his giant form, he was not intimidating. Like, oh my god. The CGI and the design of this giant form looks ridiculous. He literally just looks like Oogie Boogie from Nightmare Before Christmas. Was this supposed to be a reboot version of Stay Puft Marshmallow Man? Because it did not work at all. Speaking of the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man, he made a cameo in this movie, but only as a balloon. A ghost balloon. Really? Ghost balloons? That's a thing? Apparently. And speaking of cameos, we also got cameos from the original cast members of the first two movies. And while it was nice seeing them in this movie, I feel like their cameos were just useless.
Indeed. It has Bill Murray as a character named Martin Heiss, as well as Dan Aykroyd as a cab driver, Ernie Hudson as Patty's uncle, Sigourney Weaver as a character named Rebecca Gorin, who apparently is supposed to be Holtzman's mentor, as well as Annie Potts as a receptionist, and, of course, Harold Ramis is not in the film because he died 2 years before this film came out, so rest in peace, Harold Ramis.
And another thing, they also disrespected three things that was iconic to the franchise. The Ecto-1, the Ghostbusters logo, and the theme song. For real. And don't get me started on that scene where the Ghostbusters were trying to come up with a logo for themselves. Like, the first one they came up with was disturbing. And the other ones, like, it just feels like they were trying to be creative and funny, but they're not. Yeah. And the one who created the actual Ghostbusters logo is apparently a random dude who is illegally spray painting the wall of the train station that Patty was working before she became a Ghostbuster. Really? That's how the Ghostbusters logo is created? Really? Yeah. Ridiculous. And then there is the Ecto-1. And apparently before it became the Ecto-1, it used to be a hearse that Patty's uncle owns. Is that even accurate to the original film? Well, I haven't really seen the original movie for a long time, so I can't really remember, to be honest. I don't think so, though. And another thing about the Ecto 1, they changed the iconic Ecto 1 siren sound. Yeah, there was no need to change that, because that siren sound is iconic. And when it comes to the theme song, I only liked hearing the theme song in the beginning of the film, because in some other scenes, they did a remix of the song. And the remix was terrible. Yeah, even I'll admit it was pretty bad. And also, you know that the Ghostbusters have those gadgets? You know, the proton packs, the ghost traps and all that? Well, instead of the main characters building those things using their own technology, they steal the technology from a nearby university and somehow didn't get in trouble for that. Like, how did they not get in trouble for that? I swear to God. These so-called Ghostbusters, they were nothing but troublemakers. Yet don't say. Is there anything in this movie that I consider a good quality? Well, I guess they did bring back Slimer, which I guess was okay. But the weird thing is, there's also a female Slimer. I don't know if that's supposed to be Slimer's sister or his girlfriend, but either way, it's weird. The movie also had an end credit scene, and they were setting up a sequel because they mentioned Zool. But unfortunately for this movie, and fortunately for us, this movie was a box office bomb, meaning we're not getting a sequel anytime soon. Good. This movie doesn't deserve one, because this movie is everything but a Ghostbusters movie. Because the main characters, the so-called Ghostbusters, were nothing but unlikable, annoying troublemakers / YouTubers, because they have a YouTube channel in this film. They made Chris Hemsworth's character into an absolute idiot, the main villain was lame, the action was not entertaining to watch. There were a lot of moments in this movie which were absolutely disgusting. They added way too many pop culture references, even in scenes when it's supposed to be serious. They ruined everything that made the Ghostbusters iconic. And the Ghostbusters uniforms as well look ridiculous. They look like a bunch of garbage collectors in those uniforms.
Well, to be honest, I think that's accurate, because the movie itself was garbage.
Well, anyways, that'll be the end of this review. I'm rating this movie a 0 out of 10. And now let's just find out what we're going to review next. The next movie we'll be reviewing is... Freddy vs. Jason.
Oh, I am for sure looking forward to that one.
And since I have already seen this film, we're going to start working on the review right now. Fine by me. Thanks for watching. If you like this video, please leave a like. But if you like this channel, please subscribe. See you next time.